I was thinking the other day, there are a couple types of microphones that I haven't given a whole lot of attention to on this channel. One of them being ribbon microphones, but we're not going to be talking about ribbon microphones quite yet. We'll probably eventually get there though. But the other type of microphone that I'm talking about that I've just kind of left alone for some reason is shotgun microphones. I get a decent amount of questions and quite a few requests for me to review a shotgun microphone. And for some reason, I just haven't really done much with shotgun microphones. But it makes sense why I get questions about shotgun microphones because a lot of content creators use shotgun microphones. But don't get me wrong, not only content creators use shotgun microphones, actually a lot of voiceover artists use them as well. And just spoken word uses in general, shotgun microphones can be great. But I think a big part of why some people that are starting out with voiceover are really interested in shotgun microphones is because of this guy. His name is Mike Delgadio, and he runs Booth Junkie, the YouTube channel, and he uses a Sennheiser MKH416 quite often. We aren't going to be reviewing that microphone today, but more so a competitor of that microphone. But I will say that the MKH416 review is coming up, as well as a comparison. I gave a lot away right then, so cool. But today I'm going to be reviewing a microphone that I have wanted to review for quite a while. We're going to be reviewing the Rode NTG3. But I'll try to test this microphone out in a variety of different ways, so voiceover artists, content creators, movie makers, they all know if they can use this. But actually, during this whole first section, I've been using the Rode NTG3. You can't see it in the frame, but it's there. It's right here. Hey, baby. I know it's a little expensive, but she purty. So I'm going to head over that way, and then let's get mic'd. Welcome all audio nerds to the audio hotline, and as I said before, we got the Rode NTG3 shotgun microphone in the studio. Now, one thing I do want to say before I get too far into this review is a big thank you to B&H for sending me the Rode NTG3. They didn't ask me to review the microphone in any certain way. They didn't tell me to say anything nice about it or anything nice about them. But I think that they are an amazing company. And honestly, I've pretty much stopped buying stuff from Amazon and just started going through B&H because I just like working with them so much more. So a big thank you to B&H for letting me borrow this microphone. The Rode NTG does have a pretty hefty price tag. It is $700. Today, I will test this out as thoroughly as I can. I've tried to think of every possible testing scenario that I should do. If I forget one that you want me to do, go ahead and leave it down below and I'll try to remember it for other shotgun microphones. Today I will be using the Zoom H6 to record the Rode NTG3. Right now I'm actually only at 35% gain, and earlier when it was about 2 feet away from me, I was at about 42% gain. I am using a Mogami cable and I will occasionally use the provided windscreen. But let's go ahead and talk about what comes with the Rode NTG3 when you purchase it. When you purchase the Rode NTG3, you will get a microphone stand mount, also known as a mic clip. Inside the microphone clip, it does come with a 5/8 inch to 3/8 inch microphone stand adapter. You will also get a nice leather storage pouch. You will get a Rode windscreen or windshield, however you want to say that. And you will also get a weather-resistant aluminum storage cylinder. This microphone does also come with a giant I Heart Rode microphone sticker. And other than that, you will get the microphone itself, the Rode NTG3. When it comes to the accessories, I like everything that is included. I feel like it's all built really well, but there's one in particular thing that I am just obsessed with. And that's this aluminum storage cylinder. It can double as a hammer or something. I don't know. This thing is so cool though. And inside of it, it does have protective foam, so your microphone isn't just hitting up against metal. That'd be pretty dumb if it was. The windscreen that comes with this is no joke. It's built very well. Everything is just really solid. I mean, then again, you are paying $700, so it better be pretty damn good. When it comes to the accessories, the one bad thing I will say is that the windscreen smells weird. I don't know what the deal is, but this thing smells like Harbor Freight. I don't know if Harbor Freight is like everywhere in the United States, but it's a place that sells like tools and stuff. They don't sell me like actual tools like hammers and things. Well, now that we've gone through the basics, the build quality, and the accessories, now let's go ahead and nerd out and talk about the specs and some features. The RØDE NTG3 is an XLR condenser microphone with a line gradient acoustic principle and a supercardioid polar pattern. This has a frequency response of 40 Hz to 20 kHz, an output impedance of 25 ohms, a sensitivity of -30 decibels, and an equivalent noise of 13 dBA. It has a maximum output of 8.2 dBu, a dynamic range of 117 decibels, and a max SPL of 130 decibels. This has a signal-to-noise ratio of 81 decibels and a power requirement of 48 volts of phantom power. And the RØDE NTG3 is actually resistant to moisture with its RF bias technology. When it comes to the specs of this microphone, it is just really solid. The 13 dBA noise floor level for a shotgun microphone is actually really good. And I believe that's actually on par with the MKH416. The frequency response graph actually seems relatively normal, a little boost for some clarity since this is mostly for vocals. But overall, when it comes to the specs, I feel like it delivers. But now that we've gone through the basics and the specs, now let's go ahead and start testing the RØDE NTG3 out. I'll go through this first testing part like I usually would with most microphones, and then I'll throw in some curveballs. Some curved balls. I'm 5 years old. If you want to get really close to the RØDE NTG with no windscreen on, here's how it's going to sound. Now, if you decide to put that protection back on, because you never should have taken it off in the first place, then here's how it sounds. Plosive time. Peter Piper picked a patch of pickled peanutses. 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 Now, if you want to get a shotgun microphone for YouTube gaming and you're going to be click-clacking on a keyboard, let's test out some background noise rejection. Now, if you're going to type just super hard into a keyboard while you're talking into your microphone, maybe this said keyboard has some MX Cherry Blues in it, like this one does. Here's how much the noise will be rejected. Now let's go ahead and test this supercardioid polar pattern with some white noise. Now here's a little bit of a distance test. We'll do some more distance tests here shortly, but this is about 3 feet away from me in the studio. I will probably boost this a little bit in post. Now, if you want to use this microphone for podcasting or voiceover or anything where you're going to use some post-processing on it, here is how it could sound with some EQ, some compression, maybe limiting. Usually when I do these post-processing tests, I try to keep the processing pretty light just so I don't change the tone of the microphone too much. So now we're going to do some more tests related to like content creation and filmmaking and stuff like that, just so the people that are watching this video for those reasons know if this microphone will work for them. We don't usually do these types of tests on the audio hotline, but for a shotgun microphone like this, I feel like it's appropriate. All right, so now I'm outside doing a bit of a vlogging test, which actually doesn't make any sense for this microphone. But hey, someone's going to complain about it if I don't do it. But yeah, right now I'm about, a foot away from the microphone. But you do have to have 48 volts of phantom power to make this work. So like I said, vlogging doesn't make much sense, but here you go, whiners. So right now I'm about 2 feet away from the microphone. There's birds chirping, wind is happening, dogs are being giant assholes and barking constantly. And yeah, there's an AC unit that's humming and just everything. There's a lot of distractions. Hey, what are you doing? This is my show. So once again, still outside, but actually the microphone is just right out of the camera's frame. It's like movie style, you know. I have an imaginary person booming the microphone overhead, so if you were outside in a little bit of a noisy area with a little bit of wind and definitely a loud AC unit, here's about how the microphone would sound. So now I'm going to do a really hardcore distance test and just get far back there. I've got the mic at about 50% on the Zoom H5. This is about 5 feet from the microphone. This is about 10 feet from the microphone. This is about 20 feet from the microphone. Well, now that we've gone through the basics, the specs, and we tested this microphone out, now I'm going to go ahead and get to my review, my opinion of the Rode NTG3 shotgun mic. But when it comes to my opinion, the first thing that I will say is that when you're up close to this microphone, it can get a little boomy, and not in like a good way. Like the proximity effect can kind of be a little bit muddy with this microphone. So I would say that this microphone's like sweet spot is about 6 to 8 inches away, and that's about where I'm at right now. But don't get me wrong though, if you want to get this microphone for like filmmaking and you want to use it for voiceover and you do want to get a little bit closer to get a little bit more bass, you absolutely can take this out in post. But honestly, faulting a shotgun microphone for being boomy when you get close to it isn't really a fault on its part, it's just kind of a natural thing that's gonna happen. So considering it sounds really good from about 6 to 2 feet away, this is perfect for like indie filmmakers. That if you need a good microphone but you don't have like an absolute ton of money, this would go really well with what I've been using, the Zoom H6. This would be a solid setup. And with YouTube, the same thing applies. If you don't want the microphone on screen or you want it to not be a super big distraction, this is great. Absolutely. And one thing to be aware of with this microphone, and actually just all microphones, is the polar pattern that they have. For instance, this is a super cardioid microphone, which means that this has a pretty narrow area of sensitivity in the front. The sides reject sound pretty well. There's a part about 45 degrees from the back that rejects sound the best, but then there is a little bit of sensitivity directly behind the microphone's capsule. So for instance, when I was doing that outdoor test with those dumbass dogs barking constantly, dude, our neighbor's dogs, they bark all day. I'm not joking. That's not an exaggeration. Probably 4 out of 7 days a week. Bark all day long. It's the best, especially when you're trying to record YouTube videos. It's awesome. So fun. But the problem with that is that I initially put those dogs in the least sensitive area of this microphone, but when they're running in their backyard, changing where they are at, it would start to be picked up more and more by the microphone, sometimes less. But a lot of people will probably be using these microphones in somewhat of a controlled area. And even if it isn't super controlled, I feel like it will still do a pretty good job. I mean, yes, you could hear birds chirping, you could hear dogs barking, you could hear the AC unit, but it didn't drown out my voice or anything like that. It was maybe a little distracting, but my voice was absolutely front and foremost. Front and foremost? Is that like a thing? Like, first and foremost. Front and center. I think I mixed those two up. One thing that was a little bit disappointing is that I do feel like the windscreen did take out quite a bit of that nice high-end kind of airy sound, but I have also noticed that they do help with a little bit of room rejection as well, so you're just making a little bit of a sacrifice. You can always bump a little bit of treble in post if you need to. But I think the biggest issue that people probably have with this microphone is the price. A lot of people are going to struggle to spend $700 on a microphone, especially when there are a lot of very inexpensive shotgun microphones out there. I mean, I don't think you're getting like the steal of the century and that this is worth so much more than it's priced. I feel like it is fairly priced and it sounds really good for its price point. I'd recommend this especially for like indie filmmaking or a YouTube channel where you want better quality and you don't want the microphone to necessarily be in your shop. For voiceover, I don't think it's bad. I just think that you're gonna need to be a little bit further away from it than you probably think, but I think that you could absolutely make it work. And with that being said, I am very much looking forward to the comparison that I am going to do with this versus the MKH416. So excited. Oh, what's that? Oh, what's that? Is that a Sennheiser MKH416? It is. Yeah, it's gonna happen. For real. With all that being said, the grade that I give the Rode NTG3 is a B+. The reason I give it that is because it is worth the money. It is a higher price, but I do think it doesn't exceed at a ton of different things, but it is very good at what it's supposed to do. Thank you for watching this review of the Rode NTG3. I hope it helped you out, helped you decide whether you want to pick one of these microphones up, but most of all, I hope you had fun. Stay tuned for a lot more reviews and the comparison that I just mentioned. So excited. A big thank you to everyone that has watched this video. You're awesome. And a bigger thank you to everyone that has subscribed and watched this video. One more shout out to B&H for sending me this microphone. I truly appreciate everything they're doing for this channel. They have been so awesome. Definitely go check out B&H and pick up a microphone, a camera. You know, something cool. And thank you all for watching the Audio Hotline. I'll see you audio nerds next time.